I listen, I love a good villain. I feel like Plankton is maybe not good at it, but he's one of my favorite villains. Absolutely one of my favorite villains. So what was it like to finally let him and Karen have their time to shine for both of you?
Yeah, it's been, I mean, we were talking about it before, but we've been around a while. The people kind of know the characters. So this was sort of a nice way to expand on, you know, two characters who you've seen a million times in the show, but here's more of them in a way that is surprising that you maybe don't, normally get to see them do, or actually any other characters on the show. We're kind of opened this up and expanded this relationship in a way that we don't really do normally with the characters on the show.
Yeah. Jill, what was it like for you to get to have I mean, this is a Plankton and Karen backstory. Like, we get it.
Yeah.
What was it like to be able to dive into that?
Oh, it's really fun. I mean, we've dipped our toe a little bit in different, Karen and Plankton scenarios, parenting, fighting, marital, whatever. We've done that over, the course of the show. But like Doug said, it gave us more time to really go in and get the backstory. It was fun for me to see that. Like, okay, here's, stuff I didn't know, So
Yeah.
that part was really fun. And then obviously playing a villain is always a gas. I mean, it's just what's not to like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. To be bombastic
Yeah, so Plankton's
and
usually
fun.
the villain, and I'm like, the sidekick helper of the villain. So for me to get to do that too was like, oh yeah, yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, you get to explore like several versions, literally, of Karen, which I
hmm
love. What was it like getting to find the voice for like, this version, the evil version and the sassy version?
That was hard. I mean, it was hard in the beginning, not gonna lie. But once we landed on the voices, it got a lot easier. The hardest one was like the sassy one, because Karen is sassy, so
Mhm.
they wanted like a sort of a snarky sassy, and I was going, that's Karen. Like she is. But
She already
but
is
then
that. Yeah.
so to
Yeah.
find the degrees, to really go in like and find the degrees of different personality, parts of Karen was fun. It was a little tricky in the beginning, but once we figured it out and everybody said, yeah, this is what we want to go with. These are the voices we like.
Yeah.
Then playtime happens, and then it just becomes really fun.
Yeah, on the
Yeah.
writing end too, that was a sort of a dilemma we ran across was
hmm
having her have the different personalities, which was set up as kind of just a joke. The
Oh.
chips that she was putting in, the empathy chip was next to the
hmm
snarky chip, and you know what I
Right.
mean? And so that was just going to be a joke, but then the more we got into the production of the movie and storyboarding and everything, it started to make it seem like, well, maybe we should make that and make physical versions of those actual chips so you see that happen, and that kind of
Yeah.
opened it up to being a lot grander and bigger.
hmm
I loved that. I loved when we first saw them, and of course, the empathy is like the heart. But you had the other ones were the shapes of the Karens' faces, which
Right,
I thought
right.
was so brilliant. Like, it's a
Yeah.
great way to connect it. It's just great writing and great visuals.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
but I love this world of SpongeBob. But like I said, I do love a villain, so I was excited, and I wasn't expecting so much music in this, so many songs, which I loved. I thought it was great. Can you guys talk about that and including those, and maybe if you have a favorite?
That was crazy.
Um, I love an opportunity to sing. Anyone who knows me, no, that's a joke. I don't think of myself as a singer, and that was really traumatic for me in the beginning to find out I was gonna do it. When I first found out there was a big song number, and I think somebody said, it's gonna be like the Ursula big, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm not capable. I'm not capable of this. So it was very stressful, and but then and Doug was there when we recorded that song. Doug was like cheering me on, which was really nice, and Tom was cheering me on, and Linda
Yeah,
Perry was cheering me on. So I had like all these people in my corner going, you got this, it's okay,
yeah, yeah.
Linda Perry said,
Feel great.
just remember you're singing as the character. It's not you, Jill, being
A
around,
singer.
it's singer. you're Karen. And that
Yeah.
really does help to stay and remember that, you know.
I did that with Linda too. I came in and she says, "You want to sit?" We're sitting in the, her studio, and she goes, "You want to just run through the song? Just give it to me, you know?" And I started, and I said, "Okay." And then I'm hitting all these like high notes in the song, but it's me doing it and going up as high as I could go with it. And she goes, "Okay, obviously you know how to sing, but it doesn't sound like the character anymore. It
Yeah.
sounds like you singing." And I said,
Right.
"Right, right." And so I had to pull it back and figure out how to make that. It's another thing. It's really is
Yeah.
another way. It's not just me going up and singing. It's not, uh,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, you have to take the character into consideration.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
which we do in, this the songs are kind of smaller. We've done songs before. We've done a
Mm.
couple albums and done things live before too, on
Mhm.
stage and stuff. And we learned the one song and then it's done. But this was a lot in a short period of time and all different styles of songs you know, and usually we're just dealing with us, and the
Mhm.
guys like, Eben Schletter or
Yeah, yeah.
Andy Paley, of course.
Yeah.
And and you're dealing with them and them and they're part of the show.
Right.
This was dealing with we're dealing with Brett McKenzie and Devo and Linda Perry, all these,
Yeah.
just Hall of Famers, and you're like,
Right.
ah.
Like, yeah,
So
I'm not worthy. I'm not
yeah,
worthy. Yeah.
exactly.
That was, yeah, because that adds the level of, you don't want to disappoint. I don't want to disappoint Doug
Right,
or,
right.
my castmates or Tom, who's voice directing. And then you add this other layer of having these really big names and music. And go, really don't want to disappoint them. So, yeah,
No, but
pressure.
it came out fantastic. It really did. It's so
Yeah.
enjoyable. I watched with
Oh,
my daughters.
great.
I know we're not supposed to share screeners, but my girls are 12 and 13. And
Uh-huh.
I mean, they were singing the songs. Like, we love
Oh,
SpongeBob.
that's
So
Oh, it's
awesome.
great.
it was one of those times that like it ended and they were like, "Can we watch that again?" And that's
Oh,
always when
that's
you know it's
so
a good
cool.
movie. So they
That's
were big
great.
fans.
And
And then
12 and 13,
yeah,
they're not easy. They're not easy
no,
gets. They
they're
usually
not.
are.
They're
Yeah.
picky.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've
No, they're
become
bored
picky.
Yeah.
easy, I'm sure.
Hmm.
Exactly. Then, real quick before we wrap, Jill, you did say you liked getting to learn a little bit more about them. Did you guys ever imagine like Plankton and Karen's backstory being like her in college, like a potato? Like, did you ever imagine
Maybe
that?
Doug, because he's the writer.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, I
No.
guess I never thought of it that much. I haven't thought of the backstory, and it was fun. That was fun to read about. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun trying to figure out how, because the main focus of my head was that Karen tries to take over the world, but it wasn't like, oh, and then we'll figure out the whole. It was like, yeah, we'll see their backstory, we'll see what that is.
Mhm.
But once we started kicking it around, and me and Mark Ciccarelli were kicking it around for a while, uh, the potato thing came up because we all did that in
Everyone
school.
knows that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we went, oh, that's great. She starts off, just as small as she could. What's the smallest we can make Karen?
Mhm.
The
Hmm.
first original idea of you making something with a computer, sort of with electricity, and yeah, that was all stuff that then it became, what's the best way to handle all these things, and then the potato, his family with the potatoes, and all that was again, it just each thing you come up with kind of lends itself to another thing. You go, oh, that's good, that's good, that's good. And then we just tried to make as many references to potatoes as we possibly could
Right.
after
Right.
that. It's like, we got it. It's
Yeah.
potatoes.
It's funny though. It's so good. Like
Yeah.
I said, I really love this movie. So
Oh,
congratulations,
thanks.
guys. It's great.
Yay.
And
Oh, thank
It's
thank
you.
you
great to
so much for
hear.
your time.